I know this may be a weird one, but I'm constantly being asked, have I looked at the Ivara Leverian yet? No, I haven't. And for the record, when I say I haven't, it's been there for a while. Uh, when was this update? 11 days ago. Celebrates 7 years of Warframe. Wow. I'm looking for the update. Well, okay, the update was 2 weeks ago. So, well, 27.2 was 2 weeks ago. And it's just been sitting there. I think might have been out before that. Really, it should have came out with Ivara Prime, but never mind. Which, by the way, still doesn't have an end date. 91 days in. So the new Prime is late. There are a lot of reasons behind it, but I just thought I would do this because there is more than just Ivaras. I haven't been to Atlas's. I've kind of shown Gauzes and Grendels, so thought, I'll go in here. There's probably things in here that I'm missing.
Donation box just over there.
Donation box. Oh, I forgot about that. I know this is one of those weird ones to do, but I got 88,000 for the login today, so let's just throw that in there. No reason for it, just thought I'd throw it in there.
Ivara, the Huntress. This tale comes to us from the secret history of the Orokin court by the historian Porvis. Have you perhaps heard tell of the Myrmidon? No matter. A preternatural beast figure straight out of myth he was. One whose prey had no equal. Warframes were what this villain hunted. It is said a number of frames had been erased from history by this monster. Models who no longer exist on any record. Those who are not remembered. It hardly seemed possible that a single person could stand against a Warframe, let alone destroy it. Let alone several. Perhaps Porvis enjoyed the telling a little too much, or perhaps there is something to it. Ivara encountered the Myrmidon quite early in her history. Quite early indeed.
Okay, what is the Myrmidon? That sounds a lot like... Now I'm starting to understand why people keep telling me to come in here. Do I have to do this for everything? I mean, this is just a Sandana. I will, but, it's very law-orientated.
A Dax emergency call, so Porvis writes, led Ivara and 2 unknown Warframes to a convoluted cave system. They found it littered with the bodies of murdered Dax and resplendent with bioluminescent fungi. I imagine the chitinous folds of her Salic Cyandana would have made for excellent camouflage within that malevolent, supernal glow. The secret history tells us that the Myrmidon appeared boldly before the 3 in a wide chamber connected by many tunnels. Clad in red and gold armor, it gestured to the first Warframe with what Porvis describes as a strange clutching motion, as if seizing a falling apple. But it was no greeting, as we shall see. The powers of that first Warframe, the recipient of that gesture, promptly failed. The Myrmidon took advantage of the confusion to leap upon the hapless frame and press a palm to the warrior's head. In lurid detail, Porvis describes a flash of the most scintillating emerald light, and Ivara's battle sibling collapsed to hot dust.
A warrior of red and gold. Stalker's black and red. I guess he may have been gold back in the day, but I'm starting to doubt that this may actually... I so badly just want to go to the end, but these things do have story to them. Oh, the Somati. I love the Somati.
Porvis tells us he compiled much of this tale from overheard exchanges between members of the Seven and details that remain consistent in courtly whispers. He tells us the second frame suffered the same fate as the first. Reacting, Ivara whirled and promptly vanished. But one clutching gesture in her direction and Ivara's powers fled, her cloaking field nullified. Visible, vulnerable, she loosed a dash wire arrow to a high alcove, but it never came. No escape. The Myrmidon was upon her. The huntress spun, opening fire with axamati pistols to send that devil scrambling for cover, arm thrown protectively across that twisted, armored head. That clutching gesture was the key. Ivara needed a plan, and she needed it fast.
The other two Warframes that went to this cave with Ivara were turned to dust. The abilities are nullified at the wave of a hand. Every single thing of this makes this sound like the... What is that? That's an armor set, isn't it? Makes this sound like the Stalker. There is 3 more to go. Definitely That's not... What? Oh, the Rubico. But it's going to be the armor that you can spin. I want to spin the Rubico. What is that on the end? That's the magazine for the Rubico. This whole story just seems to be about how the Stalker kills Warframes, and how Ivara fell victim to it.
Ivara ran at a wall, and up it, hanging there, waiting, as the Myrmidon flipped into the room, blasting the spot where he'd expected her to be. Frustrated, he again made that same elaborate gesture, trying his luck, and she saw it. That bracelet upon the wrist that glowed softly with the movement of that clutching gesture. Ivara flipped from her perch, shouldering her exquisitely crafted Rubico as she did so, and sighted the enemy. Through the Orokin-sculpted scope, Hunter and Huntress met eye to eye, each loosing a desperate blast, a bullet from Ivara, a killing light from the Myrmidon. The green light lashed, touching a shoulder plate of Ivara's aviar armor, reducing it to dust. It saved her. Huntress won out, her shot claiming the Myrmidon's device in a shower of sparks. But the Myrmidon's weapon remained lethal, and with it, he lashed out at Ivara in an emerald fury.
I mean, okay, shot the bracelet. Would be nice if that was a thing Stalker had to stop them from being able to nullify her abilities. Then shot her anyway. Keyword there. Shot. Stalker uses a bow. Or throwing daggers. I guess really you can say that you shoot from the bow. But, this is starting to sound less and less like the Stalker as it goes. But it also doesn't say who the other 2 frames were that went with her. This is... Well, let's carry on, because I'm starting to get intrigued with this. It definitely sounds like the Stalker.
Ivara hit the ground and sprang into a surrounding tunnel. The Myrmidon shot, lancing a gouge in the porous chamber wall. Ivara pressed her back to a shadowed outcrop at tunnel's end, while the Myrmidon's weapon blazed and cut and chewed through her only cover. As good a time as any to discuss the weapon before you. The Artemis bow. The Huntress's signature weapon, and the tool with which she has wrought so much good. Said by some to be spirit bonded to her. Others say the product of forgotten Orokin technology. What Porvis tells us next displays to good effect what warrior and weapon were capable of. Pinned behind eroding cover, seconds from death, Ivara summoned her Artemis bow, and it came to her. She and weapon as one. Without rising, she pulled back, aimed high, she and arrow as one, and loosed. Under Ivara's guidance, the arrow turned its path and shot down the corridor toward the Myrmidon, and lengthwise through his weapon. Around Ivara, the walls flashed green for a microsecond as the Myrmidon's weapon erupted. And then, silence.
I don't get where this green is coming from. I get it, it's the Myrmidon, not the Stalker, but that was actually quite nice on the visuals there. Fires the Artemis bow, uses navigate, goes down a hallway, blows up his gun, then explodes green. So it's green, and the armor's red and gold. So it sounds like a prime frame. To be honest, the more that this goes through, the more it kind of sounds like Saren. With her toxin and viral and all the rest of it. But she's not really red and gold. Is this another enemy that they may add in the future? Oh, wow. I wonder what arrows look like. I'm guessing they look like that. Actually, that has different tips to it.
What is a bow without arrows? And these arrows? The origin system has never seen their like, able to change their very nature at the whim of Ivara. Sleep, cloaking, rapid fire, they are the embodiment of her legendary versatility. Ivara drew her bow again, this time for her fallen comrades. With inhuman speed, shot after shot snapped and plucked each segment of carapace from the Myrmidon's lean frame. Straps severing, clips popping, he was undressed with swift efficiency by the preternatural accuracy of her aim and rapidity. Even before her final arrow belted the visored helmet from his head, she had the killing shot knocked and ready. There he stood, the Myrmidon, slayer of Warframes. Naked, beauty, symmetry, even the capacity for language, sacrificed for raw power. But his face was a mockery of an Orokin face. Those she was sworn to never kill. The smirk on his pallid, angular visage told her he knew it as well.
We'll get onto that later, but okay, so this all takes place before the Stalker's creation. Because she is still sworn not to kill the Orokin at this point. Jump off, jump off, jump off, jump off, jump off. I bet you somebody went through all of these walls making sure that there was no way to fall off. And there she is, Ivara, herself. The myth, the legend, not the prime one. I kind of wish it was the prime one, because the prime one does look that little bit better.
The grand doors of the Chamber of the Seven flew open. Across that reverberating expanse of polished darkness strode Ivara, dragging her prize. Before the assembled council, she dropped him, and with it, the Myrmidon's battered helmet. Here he would meet justice at the hands of his own people. Here, her fallen friends would be avenged. She beheld the Seven, awaiting their judgment. The Myrmidon got to his feet, cleaning dust from one shoulder with a contemptuous flick. One of the Seven leaned forward, removing a curious thing from their slender head, a lattice of delicate silver, placing it on the elevated, chest-high curve of obsidian that separated her from them. Instantly, the Myrmidon collapsed, lifeless, to the floor. Ivara did not understand. Why? Why? A stately voice intoned her name. There stood Executor Ballas. He told her, "You have been battle and loyalty tested. Your companions, they were found wanting. They failed to adapt, failed to overcome, and so they are no more. But you, Ivara, you shall live. You shall be remembered." Her battle comrades, as we know, were not.
Really? At this point, do I need to go to the Codex and point out the fact that the Stalker only goes after the Warframes because the Warframes started killing the Orokin at the sound of the bells, and that's why the Stalker is out for revenge? Guessing the Stalker was a Dex or something, or an Orokin, not a Tenno. But could have been a Tenno. I'm not going into the lore side of any of this, but yeah. What the thing was Ballas. It was Ballas wearing a helmet, controlling somebody, basically like a Dex frame. The Dex frame? An Umbra frame that was being used to test Warframes. We went through this with the Umbra quest. Ballas, not a good person, wasn't a good person. Still to be untold, he did give us the paracesis, so can't be all bad. But yeah, that was just her test of worthiness, shall we say. Not the Stalker at all. Don't know why people keep telling me that was the Stalker. It sounds like the Stalker. It may be what the Stalker got his idea from originally. I still wish there was a leave function over here instead of having to go into the pause menu to leave. But yeah. So basically goes, Ivara goes into a cave. The cave is glistening and glowing, kind of like this thing does during that whole speech. Then one of her friends, or colleagues, allies? Let's go with allies. Dies. Then the second one dies and just starts shooting at them. It shoots back and destroys her armor. She fires aboard it, taking out its gun that for some reason makes everything green. Don't know what gun that could be, that's bugging me. Then it goes on about arrows and shooting this person many times and knocking him down, and then finishes with taking them to the Orokin 7, the hierarchy, and then finding out that the whole thing was a test and her friends died because they were weak. That's pretty much what that whole thing comes down to. It was a test by Ballas and nothing more. This whole, oh, it sounds like the Stalker. It does. It sounds a tiny little bit like the Stalker, but it's not. It's Ballas. And there goes my weird camera glitch again. It doesn't actually say, apart from our cold and gold emperors, breathless, blah blah blah. It's the gold emperors. That's the Orokin. It goes on about in here how the Tenno at each, it actually says a beat rang out. The 9th beat rang out, a torrent of blood filled the stadium loosened by Tenno blades, because the Tenno killed the Orokin. And that's why the Stalker hunts the Tenno. So, yeah, the reason the Orokin aren't around anymore, our fault. The Tenno did it. A lot of people seem to be getting that one confused. It's literally right here in his codex. The Stalker hunts the Tenno because the Tenno killed the Gold Emperors. It doesn't specifically say the Orokin, but the Orokin were the Gold Emperors, so yeah. This is why I don't get into lore of things, because I am still, to this day, told that's not true. It's right there in the codex, but everyone keeps telling me it's not true. So, whatever. It wasn't the Stalker. It was the, I keep wanting to say Megalodon. I'm pretty sure it's a giant shark. But anyway, that's about it. There are many more in here that you can actually go and look at. If you want me to have a look at the Atlas one, let me know in the comments section below. I will look at this sometime in the future, but not now. So we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.